Hello, everyone. I'm Cynthia J, President of Shabbat Ministries. Thank you for joining us today for another segment of our Shabbat Career Connections. We have been doing this monthly. We're reaching out to people who are unemployed, underemployed, want to change employment, those who probably have been just trying to decide which direction they would like to go in this time within in your lives. So each month we have brought a guest speaker, and this month is no different. But I'm really excited about this guest speaker because I believe that she is going to give us entree and introduce us to a totally different kind of career path. I'll call it that. So, without further ado, I would just like to introduce you to our guest today. Her name is Miss Tracey Thompson, and she is the CEO and creative PMO. That's the name of her business, Creative PMO LLC. So, Miss Tracey,
Yes. Yes. Hi.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. And I didn't do very good with your introduction because you got a lot of stuff in your bio that I'm not familiar with, but that's okay
hmm
because I'm going to get familiar with it as we go on. We have the pleasure of working with Miss Thompson or Tracy because she is offering a class at Shabak. And some people have been registering with the class. And then I found out that the scope of what she does goes far beyond just those classes and that particular program. So, why don't I start with a couple of questions? Number one, if you could tell us a little bit about your background.
Sure. Yes. So again, thank you, Reverend Terry, for having me here on the podcast. I am the owner, if you mentioned, this Creative PMO. My background's in project management. I left corporate America about a year ago and started my own business providing project management services. And I have my PMP and Scrum Master certifications. I started off in tech sales and then migrated over to project management. And that is what I've been doing for the last probably 15 years as project manager and leading various large scale projects for Fortune 500 companies and mainly IT. And that background in IT led me to start also my nonprofit, which you mentioned been working with Shabak, the Code for Change. And during my years, I started off in technical sales many years ago. Uh, I worked in the late 90s, aging myself. I started off as a salesperson for a technology company. They were a distributor, Ingram Micro. And after I left Ingram, where in Williamsville, New York, which is right outside of Buffalo, and I found myself often like the only person of color on my team, right? So it was like, several sales team. It was always just like one of us. And then I relocated to Atlanta, where I got a job working at IBM in sales too. And once I got there, is a world of difference, where just the diversity, of course, in Atlanta, right? But I still found once I went outside of that bubble, that it wasn't the representation that I wanted to see in tech. And I realized then the seed was planted many years ago, in 2000s, early 2000s, for the Code for Change. I started mentoring and giving back, but the seed was planted where I wanted to do what I could to introduce. It started off with a desire to see more, honestly, people of color in tech. And so
Right.
that's where the seed was planted for the Code for Change. And I started it in around 2020. and went full time working in my these two businesses in the last year.
That is phenomenal. And you look super young. So I don't
The
know,
light.
but you are a native of New York. You did
Hmm.
say
Yeah,
that, and now you have gone down south and come back up into this area, and we are
yeah.
all the better for it. I did have a question about digital equity. I've
Hmm.
heard that phrase. What is digital equity, and why is it important?
Yeah. So digital equity refers to the belief that all people, regardless of your age, income, and where you live, should have equal access to technology, the skills, the resources to really thrive in this digital world, right? Everything we do now is online. And so it really comes down to three components digital equity. One is access. So that's access to the internet. So everyone should have access to high speed internet, also access to devices. We want to make sure everybody has internet enabled devices. And then the third component is the training. So people have the training and know how to use these devices. So digital equity really, that's basically our mission of the Code for Change. So we play in the part of providing access to devices as well as the digital literacy and getting people the skills they need. And during the pandemic, it really shined a light on, we've heard for years about the digital divide, and many people thought, well, most people have access to computers now, so there's no, digital divide. Or people thought, our phones, that is a mini computer. So we thought that we had made a lot of progress, but during the pandemic, it really shined a light on how everyone doesn't have access to at least one internet at home, and also devices when you had families, parents and children having to work from home, having to take classes online. So you have one family sharing a single device when you have all of these people in the house. You had children in McDonald's parking lots and restaurant parking lots to get Wi-Fi because they didn't have it at home.
Wow.
So it really showed that there's still a need, and there's this divide amongst people who the haves and have not. So
Right.
there were a lot of plans that the then Biden administration, a lot of funds that they put into place there were subsidies put into place so that people could get discounts on their internet access. There were lots of funding put out there for devices and to, provide computers to people, as well as funding for training. And so, that
So
administration really saw the
has
need
all of
for it.
that gone away with the new administration?
You got it.
It's gone.
Yes, you got it. A lot of it has been cut, and there have been a lot of, you know, lawsuits and challenges to grants that were already approved, because some things were already approved and usually you don't cancel that funding. So I think there's still some uh, you know discussions going on. Like there was a broadband equity act where they were expanding broadband like to really rural areas that don't have internet and things like that. So they're still trying to get funding from that, but there has been a lot of changes.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So, quick question for people who may not know about coding
Yeah.
and baby blocks. What is
Hmm.
coding?
So coding is pretty much the language, that programmers, the person who does writes code, it's the language they use to speak to computers, to instruct. It's the instructions they give to computers to complete the task. So whether, in software development, they'll write a code, give the computer instructions to create an app, to create website, to create all of the systems that we use today, are built on the foundation as code. So that's the foundation of it. And initially when we started, when I thought about the Code for Change, it was give people that foundation of, taking coding courses, others, but we've now branched out into other courses. For example, like you said, we're partnered with Grow with Google. So we offer certificate programs in data analytics, or, so you can get a certificate in cybersecurity. So, coding is like the good foundation. And then, there's other very high paying technical jobs and careers available out there too.
So, how many of our children are being exposed to coding to the point that maybe when they get to the point of graduation, that's something that they could further so that they could actually get a better job than in
Yeah. Yeah. They
times
can,
past?
it can put them on a pathway. Yeah. And, some of our schools do have pretty good computer technical CTE classes. So they do have pretty robust CTE programs, but not a lot of them, not all of them, right, do to reach everyone. So that's again why we're here to plant that seed early, because we know that young people may not even have thought about a career in tech, right? So they may not be exposed to anyone who works in that area. So we're actually excited about developing a program for that focuses on AI, and we can talk more about AI, but it's
Mhm.
to teach young people how to use it safely, responsibly. But we know that is where jobs are going. We know that that's going to be a part of a lot of different jobs, and that those in our community now can't get behind in not learning, that new skill that AI has now introduced.
So again, let's just take our county. The county that I live in is
Mm-hmm.
Prince George's County. Uh,
Yeah.
Prince George's County schools. Do you think that they're up to par with introducing coding and all things to our
I
students?
I think they have you know, it's a lot that is room for everyone. So I did attend there was a, a program that Prince George's County Schools held that I was very impressed with their CTE program, to learn that they have programs in our schools where the students can get certifications that are very, that can lead to jobs. So, for example, one of the industry leading certification is CompTIA. So they're provide all type of educational classes in, I starting off a basic IT support up to, cyber and networking and everything in between. So I was excited to learn that they do offer these courses at our schools. The
Good.
problem is it's a small number of students compared to the majority in the Prince George's school that
Hmm.
are, one, taking advantage of it, and two, they probably just don't have the resources to extend it to everyone. Like in some countries, like India, for example, I'm told everyone has to take like a foundational, classes in coding, and they probably moved on. I think I read something about China. Now they're extending that to AI, right? So, maybe we should make that just a foundational course,
Hmm.
because that's where, we want to help, and we want to provide like after school programming to students who may not be in that program within the school system, and maybe they're interested in it still. And some parents, I know, do make that investment to make sure their children are getting in school.
Hmm.
there's plenty of paid, and sometimes more affluent families can pay, to have their kids in these programs. And that's where we come in for children who can't pay. And that's why we apply for grants, and we want to make sure these resources are available to our, kids in our community at no cost.
Mhm.
Because some of the, like I said, the more affluent families can start their children off early and they're exposed to it at an earlier age than
Right,
maybe some
right.
in our county.
Two questions. I'll give
Mm-hmm.
them both to you. Number
Yeah.
one, do you think that sometimes students feel like they're not smart enough? Because when you
Mm-hmm.
hear coding, it's almost as though it has a stigma with it that you have to be smart in order to do it. That's my first question. My second
Mm-hmm.
question is, do you think AI would ever replace coding or coders? Because there's the
Yeah.
people behind the coding, do you think?
Mm-hmm.
So those two.
Good question. Yeah,
Mhm.
good question. I do think, yeah, there is some fear of it from some students in adults too, right? Who haven't been exposed to it, who maybe don't feel they're smart enough. And I think that's where, again, the early exposure to it, making it more accessible, bringing in topics that maybe they're interested in, like, a lot of times it's you're playing these games all the time anyway. Let us teach you how to create your own game. You
Mhm.
know, that was always my intention in starting a nonprofit. I said I want to create. I used to say, the founder of the next Facebook or Instagram. I want that to be a person of color from our community, right? That these young people, when exposed to it early, it sparks those creative ideas. And why can't you, instead of being a consumer of these games, be the
Right.
creator of a game?
That's right.
So
That's
you're
good.
starting to see that. And that, to your question about AI, is that, and that's being debated now, that AI is replacing code, because it can create code, yes. So, but right now, we don't, it's not thought that it's going to replace all coders. It's good at basic code, and it can help. So what they're saying is it will replace coders who don't maybe use AI, because now you use it in conjunction. So if you're a
Right.
programmer writing code, you can incorporate AI into your job so that it
Right.
writes the code faster, and it can take those repetitive tasks and create the basic code. But you still need to understand it, because like now there's apps out there that can write code. I have a million ideas sometimes, right? When you're entrepreneur, sometimes you're like, oh, I need it, I should come up with this. So there's some like app ideas, but I don't even know if I ask it to create code, I don't know if that code is accurate, because I'm not a coder. I'm the
Mhm.
project manager who's managed a lot of these teams and manage the coders and bring everybody together. But you still need people who can test it, right?
Right.
You still
Mhm.
need, critical thinking skills. You still need someone to, strategically think about what next and know what else we need. So you still need the human touch with some code and AI background.
Right. Right. So general ballpark, what do coders make? What kind of salaries go along with the ability to actually create code?
It starts off, it's a range, of course, but say
Mhm.
intro, 80,000 and up to, it could be up to high 100s. And
So
I,
80,000 is the low end?
I think entry, yeah, say like an entry level job, you can, a coder average could be like around 80,000.
Mm.
And even more so too, like we're saying, if you know AI and code, I don't know if you followed any of this. There's a big war on talent in regards to AI. So, the two big AI companies, well, the two big companies right now, there's lots of them, but you have the two tools that you probably even using, like Chat
Mhm.
GPT. You've heard
Yeah.
of that, and Gemini is Google's. So those are tools. They're called generative AI. So
Mhm.
you can go on to ChatGPT or Gemini, and it reasons and thinks and writes in a natural language like a human, and it's been taught to do that by data.
Mhm.
So they just feed it
Mhm.
lots of data, and after reading this data and processing this data, it learns the right answers, right? So it's off of millions of data being fed into it. Because these companies are in such a race to come up with the top AI tool, some of these people, these young people, I mean, I've seen they're young, Cynthia, getting $1 million salaries. Yeah, they got $1 million bonus programs and
That's
all of
seven
this.
digits. That's 7 digits,
Seven
right?
digits.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Wow.
So just that's salary and bonuses. But so you have to, they're developers of AI systems. So that's why I say
Mhm.
coding is still important, because you want to, how do you know how to even create the next AI system? You have to
Mhm.
know some code. There's other careers that's popping up, like a data scientist. And I
Mm.
think I mentioned, but we have a certificate in data analysis.
Mhm.
But that's where, all of these systems require information. So if you have that analytical mind and you like, playing with numbers and all that data, the certificate in data analysis may be good for you. And because that can directly, you can apply for jobs maybe with, in AI. As
Right,
data,
right,
they call them data scientists, like AI
right.
data scientists or AI data analysts.
So let's go back to
Mhm.
the program you're doing with Shabak. Can
Yeah,
we talk about that for a moment
yeah,
and tell
definitely.
people what that is? And I love the fact that you are now an entrepreneur because, some of our segments will be on entrepreneurship because I tell people all the time there are people
Mhm.
who cannot work for other people. They need to
Yeah.
run their own business and have people work for them. But we're in partnership right now with the certificate, a portion of the certificate program. So could
Yeah.
you speak to that?
Yeah, so definitely. And so we are, one of the partnerships that we work with is Google, and Google provides it's called Grow with Google, and they provide their career certificates through nonprofits like ourselves. So individuals can sign up for 6 different areas to in all of the certificate programs are about 12 to 15 weeks, because they're online self-paced classes typically. And so right now what we have are certificates offerings in cybersecurity, there's project management, there's data analytics, there is UX design for those who maybe want to say this is how it should look, the design, the user experience, right? um, we talked about data analytics being like cleaning data that repositories, creating that. um, there's also marketing, e-commerce, and I think that's it. So what, pretty much, like I said, this all online self-paced. You don't need to have a background in tech. This is meant to give you that. It starts off, from whatever your skill level is, no computer experience, no technical experience, to somebody who's advanced and maybe just want that certificate to add to their resume. And there is typically would be a cost because they're online through Coursera, but through this program, we have, like I said, a grant from Google for a certain number of licenses. So right now it's free. So that's where we partnered, with Shabak to say we want, we want to provide this to, excuse me, the community. And we, may at some point do an in-person component, because we know that sometimes people want to meet face to face. Sometimes, taking classes on their own, can be a challenge, but we do have touch points, periodically. You have access to, course facilitator if you have questions and all that. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell. We encourage anyone, if you're interested, you can go to thecodeforchange.org and sign up for those certificates while we still have them for access to those classes.
So, if they went somewhere to pay for these classes on their own,
Mm-hmm.
how much would they cost?
For this program, if you were to take it on your own, there is a fee for Coursera, and I know that's about $50 a month. But for example, like for project management certification, for the education and training you're getting, there's so this course through Google, the education portion of it can prepare you to take like the PMP exam. So a lot of PMP prep classes cost $1,000 and up. So, instead of paying $1,000 to take these educational prep classes, you can take this certificate program. You get your certificate from Google, and then now you have the educational hours because you can apply that to the PMIs to go and take their PMP prep classes. So, and the same
Say what
thing
those
for
are.
code.
Say
Yeah.
what the PMI and the PMP are for those who may not know.
Yeah. PMI is the Project Management Institute,
Okay.
and they are the certifying body for the the project management professional certification.
Okay.
So PMP just means you've been certified by PMI, Project Management Institute. You are now a project management professional. And that's a certification you can get. And a lot of, we're in the DMV, so a lot of, our federal contractors really value PMP certification, as well as Agile is growing in popularity too. But a lot of them still value that traditional PMP certification. So this gives you the education and training hours you need, and then you can just go and sign up to take the actual PMI PMP tests. So I think that's good. And the same thing for several others. It fills the educational component and training hours that you need, and then you can go and if you want to also take the CompTIA Security Plus after you take the Google's, for free, the Google's cybersecurity certificate, you can use those training hours and just take the CompTIA Security Plus training. So a lot of people enter these programs to stack them. And, that's another thing too, where why I wanted to start the Code for Change is that I realized that a lot of these jobs, you don't really need a 4-year degree. A lot of them are certificate driven. And,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes some companies still made a big deal about a degree, but we've seen that changing where they agree it's certificate driven because they want really to see that you have a CompTIA Security Plus, or they want to see you have a PMP certification. And once you get those certifications, there's so much continuing education hours that you need anyway, that now you are seeing companies agreeing that, maybe, even I heard IBM now doesn't require degrees for every job. When I was there, that was like mandatory. They had to have a bachelor's, but now they understand the value is really in certification because the technology changes so quickly.
Mm, mm. So
Mm.
I know we spoke a lot about younger people, but what about someone that was more mature? I told you I wanted to take the class. You said I could probably take the class too.
Yeah,
I'm not taking the class, but
you're not taking a
speaking of
class. You
people
gotta
that
stay
is
up.
ageless.
It's ageless. Yeah, it is. And the Google career certificates are for adults. So they're for 18 plus, right? So these are for, so many people again in this area that are unemployed, have been, laid off from the government, their contracting roles, what have
Mhm,
you.
mhm,
We have been at a lot of job fairs and signed people up for this because this provides an opportunity to get reskilled in a new area. So we absolutely support adult learning. We have, and this are also too, Shabak, if there's any teams that are interested in signing up, we are just joined with a national organization called Teens Teach Tech, and we're creating a teen group to come out to that will mentor and go out and teach maybe older seniors,
Ah,
how to use the computer, how to access their telehealth appointments, how to sign up for whatever program they're trying to do. So it's for teens. A lot of them have to do service hours. So we want to get them involved. And there's been a few different programs that team up seniors with teens, and it's worked really well. Those two demographics coming together and teaching them how to use tech.
yeah,
So yeah, we definitely don't want to leave out any segment of our community.
right, right. Okay, we thank you for that. So, how can people get in touch with your organization? What if they, sorry, I dropped my
Mhm.
pen. What if they want to
No
get in
problem.
touch with your organization?
We welcome volunteers, mentors, funders. If what we talked about resonates with you and you want to get involved with
Mhm.
the Code for Change, you can go to our website. It's thecodeforchange.org. And we're also on Instagram at the Code for Change. So yeah, definitely reach out. We'd love to, if you want to sign up for classes, of course, um, as well. Everything is right on
Mhm.
our website.
Mhm. So, in our communities now, what's the biggest need?
I would say again, access to training
The
and
access.
devices. Yeah, access, right? Access to training and
Right.
then support. Access and then support, meaning mentorship, um, hands-on training. So apprenticeship, uh, love to see more employers to provide some apprenticeship programs so that once people maybe have a certificate, they can get some hands-on experience to put on their resume. So it's the support as well. And then mentors, because like you said, if somebody, is fearful of this, or, they don't know anyone who's been in a technical role, that mentorship of seeing someone who looks like them, who can expose them to the opportunities in career, and they can see and build that confidence to see somebody that looks like them. So,
Yeah,
yeah, that's important.
that is always good. That's always good. So, as we're looking at people now who just sort of need some hope,
Mm-hmm.
or I know that your organization is one to support people, and because of your grant, you can do it without cost to them. But are
Mm-hmm.
there other areas where they can get things that wouldn't be either not a cost to them or not a big cost to them if they wanted to do it? Because I know that we have, what is it, one or two classes here at Shabak.
Yeah, there's two. I think we're offering the cyber and project
Cybersecurity
management.
and
Mm-hmm.
project management.
Yeah. So other areas with that Code for Change offers, you're
Yes, let's start
asking?
with that.
Um, yeah, right now it's our career certificates. And then we have some things coming down, and also AI essentials. We talked about AI. We offer that course as well. So I encourage everyone, because that's not a long 12-week certificate. It's just a 6 hours online course you can take to get the fundamentals of AI prompts, how you write out your prompt, which is the question you ask it, is really important. So
Yeah.
that is probably the most important one. And then we do have other things coming down the pipeline in 2026. But yeah, there's pretty much it. I would say other resources, which like Employee Prince George's
Mhm.
and places like that offer classes and help people when they're looking for jobs and resume writing and career
Mhm.
coaching and support as well.
So I know a lot of people who would be interested in the AI essentials, and I
Hmm.
say that because we see it on our social media 15 minutes a day for all these various things, but I
Yeah.
don't trust it. I would rather
Hmm.
go into someone that has sort of like a lot of trainings, and
Hmm.
that's a part of it, and rather than taking it from someone that, we don't know anything about, and we don't even know if they know what they're talking about. Um,
Hmm.
one of the um, one of the people that is a communications person in our church, Dr. Willie Jolly, always says, "You will not lose your job to AI. You will lose your
Hmm.
job to the person who knows AI better than you do." So when I
Exactly.
think about that, I think if we knew more than just Chat GPT,
Hmm.
how much
Exactly.
better off would we be?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a good point. And that's what they're saying about, like we said, about coders. It's
Hmm.
not at this point you'll lose your job to AI, but you might lose it to the coder,
Older.
the programmer who's using
Mhm.
AI to be more efficient, right?
Right, right.
So it's making everyone's job, you can,
Hmm.
enhance and make it more efficient, do things quicker. So you may lose it to that person who's using it to, you know, get all their tasks done quicker, and
Right,
and
right.
and stepping it up a level, and the deliverables and the documentation and creative ideas that maybe you brainstorm and come up with. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
So, what is one last thing that you want to make sure everyone knows before we close?
Again, I think just thank you for having me here. If people want to join us in volunteering, or sign up for classes, definitely just reach out and go to the website, thecodeforchange.org, and we'd be happy to to have you. We're looking for partnerships as well. So if you have any ideas for partnership, if anyone listening and maybe want to team together, if you have you know an organization that maybe is complementary, we're always welcoming partnerships as well too. So I
Right.
think that's, yeah, pretty much it for me. So thank you again so much for the great things that Shabak Ministries is doing, and helping our community is definitely a need.
There
Yeah.
is, and there's a need, especially for what you're doing, because if we don't change with the times, we will get stuck, really, really stuck
Yeah.
in the past. So this is really important. I am going to take a class. I'm not going to let anybody know which class I'm going to take, but I'm definitely going to take a
Okay.
class because I'm really excited about the opportunity to continue to grow. I
Mm-hmm.
want people to understand that there's no age limit on it. Everyone
Nothing.
should
Exactly.
continue to grow. So thank you so much for all
Yeah.
that you do. Thank you for being on the program, first and foremost. And it is the code for
Yes.
change.org. All together, the
Yes.
code for change.org. And I want to continue working with you, and hopefully we will begin to get this out more and more so that
Yes.
more people can get some jobs starting at 80K.
Yeah, exactly. Let's sign them up. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll have a big celebration for all of the participants there, Shabak. I know, that's coming too. So look forward
Mhm.
to supporting any way we can.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
All righty.
Take
Thank all
care.
of you also for joining us for this segment of Career Connections. And we'll be bringing more guests, but please don't just watch, take action. Take care.